Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new reaction video for you guys today. So today we're going to be checking out another video from Georgia Dow. I now know how to say her name. Basically, the last reaction video we did to one of her videos was to her Lucifer videos, and you guys seem to really like that. Those videos got an insane amount of views, an insane amount of engagement. I had some great comments on it that really had me going back and forth with some of my viewers, and it really inspired me to do another one of her videos, and this time we're doing her Husk video. I will say this isn't 100% a reaction because I have seen majority of this, but I kind of want to do with this what we did with the Lucifer video, where she's coming from the professional side, being that, you know, she's a psychotherapist, and I'm coming from more of a real world side with my experiences. I'm 33 years old, about to be 34, and I have been through a lot. And I just wanted to talk about how, like with the Lucifer video, how the things that they did with that character made me feel, and how I would have dealt with it, things that happened affected me. And I really want to do that with Husk because certain things about Husk really clicked with me. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's jump in and check it out. One more thing before we jump in, I will warn you guys this is probably going to be a two-part video, as this is a bit longer of a video from her, and I just want to make sure we can properly cover it, so we might split it up into two, depending on how long this goes.
You've asked for it, so here we have it. Your favorite grumpy cat moth, cat bird, cat butterfly. I don't know why he's a hybrid.
As we did with the last one, let's appreciate the cosplay. Like I said, she cosplays all of her characters. It's one of the things I love about her.
Why do you think I'm here? You actually think I'd be cleaning bottles and listening to you and moan all the time if you wasn't forcing me?
I like being forced.
Keep that to yourself, Nev.
But let's get into if there is more beneath his grumpy demeanor than meets the eye.
You don't love being here with me, Whiskers.
Call me Whiskers again and I'll jam that bottle down your throat.
Husk presents himself as really grumpy, that kind of person that's cynical and gruff and tells it like it is, even if it hurts you. But
Now, you actually see this a lot with people who swear they're, you know, super honest and like they never lie and stuff like that. There's a way to tell the truth without being a dick about it. And especially people who want to portray themselves as like, or have a thing where they think they're better than everybody else, you'll see them kind of act like that, where they act like they already know what you're gonna do and how you're gonna act before you even do it. And I was like that for a while. It started off when I went overseas. For anybody that doesn't know, I was in the army. I came back and it was like everybody was the enemy and everybody was a bullshit artist. And I swore I could see through all of it. But in reality, it was just me being bitter.
I think that for Husk, it's actually his defense mechanism because he's not.
That too. I came back and I was, you know, from a place where I was surrounded by people that I had to consider an enemy. And I came back and I had a friend of mine say the stupidest line to me. Oh, I still can't believe she said that. It was my buddy's girlfriend, and they were really happy. He was really happy to see me. He was like, dude, because I was gone for a year. And he was like, dude, we thought you died over there. And she goes, no, we hoped you died. And that was just like, that was my first interaction with people in civilization after coming home from overseas. And after that, it was kind of like I just lashed out at everybody. My best friend even said, dude, why are you trying so hard to be a dick? And I'm just like, I'm not. I'm just being me. I just didn't realize how much I had changed from being over there.
Not actually that gruff and grumpy. He isn't just that cynical person that's trying to knock everyone down. For a lot of people, they do that to keep people away because Husk actually really, truly cares. So let's take a look at some of Husk's moments where he shows that there's much more to him than meets the eye.
Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel. Can I help you with anything?
I've been a bad boy.
Well, you come
Oh, yes.
to the right place.
So that's the way that
I will say, she also has an Angel Dust video that hits on a lot of crazy topics. And I've never been in an abusive relationship, but I have had many people I care about being them. And if you guys want to hear my thoughts on that video, I will, but you guys got to let me know because I have already watched that video and it's rough.
Husk really starts to present himself. He comes off with this prickly outer coating, this way of trying to keep people away from him. And people may assume that that means that he's cold and heartless and only analytical on the inside. For a lot of people, it's actually
trust
because
issues.
they're trying to keep people away because they're so soft on the inside, because they actually genuinely care. And so sometimes when you see someone being cynical or harsh or seeming judgy, sometimes it's actually that there's much more beneath those layers than just that cynicalness, that they might actually be really soft and mushy on the inside. It's easier to just keep people away than becoming attached, because if you become attached and care, then they can hurt you, or they can disappoint you, or you...
I mentioned it in the Lucifer video when I talked about, her Jinx video being the first one I brought up. I still to this day have severe abandonment issues, and that was part of the reason I acted like this for a very long time. I didn't want anybody to get close. I didn't trust anybody because I just expected everybody to leave. It really damaged some friendships and a lot of potential relationships. Even my fiance, we had some struggles for a while, probably like our first 5 years, where my issues affected our relationship because I always thought that she was just going to up and leave me. And I was aggressive to people around me because I just expected them to leave anyway. Self-fulfilling prophecy eventually.
Would hurt them. And that often is so painful that it's just easier not to go through that. A lot of people feel that as the fail-safe. It's just easier to be alone, to only have to depend on yourself, and then you won't be disappointed and you won't disappoint others. But in the end, these relationships are what make you happy. So a lot of people with this demeanor actually feel quite lonely and sad and grumpy and angry, and that's why all of these emotions are kind of coming out.
We have something exciting to show you. Alistair pulled some strings and it's about to air.
Wait, the commercial? You all made a new one?
Yeah.
I just like seeing how grumpy and annoyed Husk is at watching himself on camera. The thought of having to go through that, you can tell that that's traumatic to him. That inside of his head, he's already judging his performance, and he hates to have to dance or perform for others. That is already an offense.
He doesn't like being a
and
pet.
So having to go through it already, having to be on Alistair's leash, but now having to actually do this buffoonery that he sees is even worse for it. So it's almost like he's going through secondary trauma to have to go through that. And I think for a lot of people, it's hard to watch ourselves on camera. Yeah, it really is.
Yo, she is not lying. Bruh, I hate the way I sound on camera and I hate the way I look on camera. I know I've put out thousands, at least 1,000 videos, but if you guys ever saw my process, it's why sometimes some of my videos get messed up. But I'll record the video, and I'll be like, when I edit it, I look at it very, like I'll be doing a million other things so I don't have to look at myself. And then once the video is rendered, I never even look at it again. So sometimes I don't catch a mistake until somebody else points it out. And I know it's a terrible habit, but I hate looking at myself on camera.
And then, because we're judging all of the mistakes or the things that we wish we had done or wish that we had sounded.
Like, I sometimes don't even look at the camera because it, like, freaks me out a little bit. And then with my 2 monitors now, I have the video on this one and I have OBS on this one, so I'm trying to make sure the recording's going okay. That's why you'll sometimes see me looking over here. But it's just, it's nerve-wracking. And then I want to look at the camera so you guys know I'm talking to you, and it's just, it fucks with me.
I can't fight without my minions!
Are gonna survive together! And you are gonna make this hotel work!
I just like how Husk sidesteps. So Husk's personality is like the opposite of Charlie. Charlie, who I already have a video on, wants to be involved in everything. Is the first person to become involved, is that keener that you love to have in the group because they enhance it. And Husk is the one that will try to avoid having to do this. And For some people, they might be like, is that because of social anxiety? In Husk's case, it's not social anxiety. He just doesn't see the point to it. He's somewhat cynical. And a lot of people find that honesty and directness actually comforting, because you don't have to worry that someone's saying something sweet but thinking horrible things in their head. When you ask something, you're going to get a genuine, direct, honest answer, even if you don't like it. But at least then, you know.
Was particularly unpleasant.
I like that part.
Well, at least you can take a beating like a champ. You did okay, new kid.
Really?
Because of Husk's gruffness, when he does give a compliment, it carries so much more weight. We recognize things from the differences between behavior. So if you're always positive, in order for people to notice that you're really excited about something, you have to be even more positive. So you end up being like super positive because of that. But because Husk is often...
In that case, also the opposite applies. When someone's always positive and then, you know, they end up having a bad day or they're down about something, it's like super obvious. And she's going to explain how with Husk, you know, because he's always so gruff and mean, when he gives a compliment, it feels genuine.
Gruff is often saying it like it is, being kind of cynical or grim about things. And that's why it meant so much, it was so meaningful to Serpentius.
Oh, well. I suppose I did get into a little of the old rough and tumble today.
I love Serpentius.
The other thing is that Husk is really good at being able to give a compliment in an area where people are unsure of themselves. And that actually, that reflection, that ability to decompress after an experience is really important. We go through that reflection and re-looking at our behavior from other people's eyes. And that can be very healing to traumatic situations. It can be very bonding after you've gone through something together. And it's actually really important for group situations of becoming a unit, of becoming a us. You can see as he becomes closer and closer to his group, his personality changes also. He starts to let people in. That risk that Husk takes in opening himself up to everyone else is a really cool journey of his.
That's so hard.
You know, not a very convincing interrogation scene.
Here we go.
Ted, what makes you think you have any right to insult my work to my face?
This is actually probably one of my favorite scenes with Husk, if not my favorite scene.
You really gonna sit there and act like these scripts ain't hot garbage?
A lot of people use being honest as a justification for being mean or kind of stepping over someone. And Husk,
this is what I was talking about earlier.
Similar personality type often have that risk. It is not an excuse. Often we do that as a way to be able to vent off our own anger or displeasure or being annoyed with ourselves. When you're not happy with where your life is, often you're going to shed off that emotion on others and want to knock people down a peg or two. I think that for Husk also, he has a really hard time dealing with people that are inauthentic or fake. And because of that, he wants to kind of rip off that mask that they're wearing. But being so confrontational and so direct can often be overwhelming to people, and you'll end up having the opposite effect. So I think that that's what Husk is going through when he does this. It lessens the chance that Angel will feel comfortable enough to be who he really is.
This is classy art.
That's bull. You get drunk and about him all the time. Everyone likes to the bartender. I know everything about you and these mother at this point.
When people are inebriated, it kind of shuts off the part where we have this filter. So we'll often say more than...
Even without the bartender thing, people that are like that, who... It's honestly just a way I've seen of people being damaged. In my case, it was because I was highly damaged. I had severe trust issues. So I started to develop a habit where I was looking into people's behaviors a lot more than I absolutely needed to. So, not to generalize people, but a lot of people tend to do the same thing in a lot of social situations or a lot of confrontational situations. It's almost like I got into a habit of trying to predict how people were going to act with certain things. It's almost like I had to be the smartest guy in the room. And because of it, like, people would say stuff to me, and I'm just like, cool, you're saying this, but you're really going to do this. And it was... I guess it was a defense mechanism because I just had such a trust issue. English. And it was really easy to see through some people's bull. But then some people would get my aggression without actually deserving it, and it just wasn't fair.
What we are comfortable to say when we are not drunk. And so because of that, you end up finding out a lot more about people's lives. Also, when you're talking to strangers or people you don't really know, it's often easier to share stuff because you don't care as much about being judged.
That one is an insecure buffoon whose lonely watches you idiots sleep.
You can see by the smile it's true.
Poor
And then
Princess.
kind of a little bit creepy.
Princess is a bleeding heart who wants to solve everybody else's problems except her own.
Facts.
No.
Also accurate.
This one judges everyone and everything because she hates herself. And Nifty? Yeah. You don't even want to know what her deal is.
I
I'm
do.
going to go into what her deal is.
Oh, you weren't kidding. Oh,
But you can see how even though he acted like he's not paying attention and doesn't care about anyone, he's read everyone and exceptionally accurately. He knows who people are. Now, that can be really uncomfortable for some people. Some people that are trying to mask themselves, in this case, Angel, they don't want to be seen. Because for Angel, if you watch the Angel video, Angel believes that if they truly knew
Like I said, if you guys want it, I'll do it.
who he was, they wouldn't like him. But some people are just good at seeing beyond others' masks. You may not, though, as in Husk'S case, want to share that. It can be very uncomfortable if you unmask people before they actually are ready for it. And I would say it's disrespectful. You want to be able to let people open up where they feel comfortable and at their own pace. You can encourage it and be open to that, but try not just to rip off people's masks as a power trip because you can.
kitten's got claws.
And you! Don't get me started. I see right through you and all this bullshit and how fake you are.
Guess that's why I'm an actor.
I think that Husk, in a lot of cases, is the resident therapist. People might think that it's Charlie, and Charlie does want to fix people.
All right, story time. I severely damaged a relationship with a friend of mine, somebody who was really important to me, because she did something really, really mean, something real dirty I didn't like, where she basically took two people that she considered friends and turned them on each other to basically get herself ahead. And we got into an argument. I don't remember what it was about. It was too long ago. But I do remember that I basically called her out for being fake and saying that she pretended to be this caring person when in reality she's just using everybody. And nobody likes to be called that because it was a shitstorm. And unfortunately, I do not talk to that person anymore. But it goes back to what Georgia said about, tearing off somebody's mask before they're ready. Could I have gone about it a different way? Sure, maybe I could have given better advice. But at that time in my life, I was just such a mean, untrusting person that I took it out on everybody.
People, but I think that Husk is really good at kind of pinpointing everything. And if you're always fake, you can't change things that you don't admit. And if you are fake often enough, you can often actually believe the fakeness is the truth, and you can lose your own identity in this mask that you've been wearing. If you wear it long enough, you might not know the difference.
That's actually something I could talk about. More recently, actually, I had to pretend to be happy. Sorry if the audio is getting weird. I'm still messing with my audio settings to get them where I like them, and sometimes it catches me better, sometimes it doesn't. But what was I saying? So, for a while, I was really, really depressed and just basically miserable. I was angry all the time, and I kind of had to keep it all to myself because I didn't want it to mess with my life. I still work at a job I don't like. I can't stand it, honestly. But I have to keep my complaints to myself because I don't want to end up damaging my job because it is my main source of income. I had issues going on at home with my kids, and it's just like I don't want to lash out on them. I wanted to make changes to my life, and I couldn't because I felt like I was being selfish, so I just kept going through the same day over and over again. Every day was the same. I was depressed. I was miserable. And I had to pretend that I was happy, or at least that's how I felt I had to be, because I didn't want anybody to worry about me. You know, all my friends and loved ones basically have their own shit to worry about. I didn't think it was worth them worrying about me. It wasn't fair to them in my eyes. So I basically had to keep a smile on even when I was like screaming inside. So I definitely know what she means when you says you lose yourself in the mask, because it just becomes a habit and you just don't need to do it. Eventually do it without even thinking. It took a lot for me to stop and basically let it all out. And that was a big step for me.
It's between the mask and who you really are. And you could lose your own identity for the things that you do and the things that you participate in. You may take those and have those become your identity. But then you end up being overly attached to items or titles or stuff. And then when you lose them, you lose yourself at the same time. And so that's why it's so important to know who you are and be in touch with it. I'm not sure if Husk is actually going that deep into it, but he definitely finds an annoyance with people that are not true to who they are and fully own it.
I need a drink. The hottest you can make.
You look like
Not possible.
So because Husk called Angel out on the one thing that Angel doesn't want other people to notice, that he's not looking good, and Angel prides himself on always looking amazing and being alluring. Instead of Angel feeling more comfortable to be himself, the mask came back up and he went back into the game that he plays. This, nothing really bothers me, I'm glam and I'm glitz. And that's what happens when you confront
Glitz?
someone too quickly or too strongly.
I said a strong one.
Didn't realize this was a drinking to forget kind of night.
Get the f over yourself and pour me a real drink.
Look,
Damn.
if you got a problem, you're not going to find the solution at the bottom of a bottle. I should know. I've been looking there a long time.
I think that a lot of people would have been offended by the way that Angel is speaking to him, because Angel's being really confrontational and rude. And that's Angel's way of dealing with when Angel feels threatened. Husk understands that and not only doesn't take offense, doesn't tell Angel to get out because they spilt the drink, which was completely rude. Husk cleans it up and then gives a really poignant self-disclosure and advice of how you're not going to be able to solve problems by just trying to drink them away. It's an avoidance technique, and that only makes things worse, not better. A lot of people do it because you feel better in the moment, but in the long run, you end up with a secondary problem that you have to deal with.
Then where should I look? In your bedroom, maybe?
Don't even start.
Oh, come on.
You can cut the act already. It's never going to work on me, so all you're doing is making an ass out of yourself with this fake bullshit.
Pull me fake one more time.
Angel wants people, needs people to be able to believe this. They end up with this confrontation with Angel using sexuality to try to make Husk feel uncomfortable. This is Angel's way of saying, back off. You're calling me out and I don't like it. And often when people don't actually know the reasons for why they do behaviors, they're going to continue to do it. And so Husk ends up then poking.
Okay, I will say that was a very interesting thing she just said. I'm gonna rewind it real quick. Listen to this.
One more time.
Angel wants people, needs people to be able to believe this. And they end up with this confrontation with Angel using sexuality to try to make Husk feel uncomfortable. This is Angel's way of saying, back off. You're calling me out and I don't like it. And often when people don't actually know the reasons for why they do behaviors, they're going to continue to do it.
When people don't know the reasons that they do behaviors, they're going to continue to do it. That's huge. Very recently, actually last week, I had a few friends of mine basically ask me for help. They were struggling in their relationship, and they wanted a third party to help kind of mediate and try to help both partners, all the parties, kind of see things from a different angle. They wanted, an outside perspective, and one of my friends basically wanted to, he wants to do more with his life and his day, and he has a bad habit of making a lot of excuses, so he never actually does anything. And that's a behavior that he does just out of pure habit. Rather than getting up and doing things that he wants to do, he finds a reason to not do them. And even when, that's been pointed out to him before, he still ends up doing it because he doesn't know why he does it. He doesn't know why he avoids the having to put effort into things. So that was just, that right there made me think of that.
And so Husk ends up then poking even harder at Angel's wounds, as Angel's then trying to be even more confrontational and sexual towards Husk. So Husk pushes him away as well.
Husk, what did you do?
Made him a drink. It's just Angel. He'll be fine.
Sounds like someone should go after him. Someone named Husk.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why don't you go if you're so worried?
And so you would say, well, does Husk not really care about people? Or is it the opposite, that when Husk cares so deeply that it's easier, Husk has learned, just not to be involved with people because they'll end up making him feel upset or disappointed or all of these negative things. So sometimes we've been shutting people out because we're wanting to protect ourselves from how we feel. Now,
Another reason that I think applies more to Husk, and I've definitely done it, is where he thinks that, he just got into an argument with Angel. Just leave Angel alone. He'll get over it. He'll come back when he's ready. And that's something a lot of people do, where they think, they just need space. But some people not only don't like the space, but they definitely don't want it. Some people want somebody who's actually going to chase them and listen to them. And that's really hard to discern.
Works in the short run. We can think that we can just be alone and be happy, but humans were social animals, and so being able to let people in can also increase our feelings of happiness. Yes, there's definitely a risk. There's a risk to get hurt. There's a risk to be able to hurt others. I would say that it's definitely worth it. And you can see Husk's demeanor and gruffness start to change, and I would even say Husk starts to warm up and even be, I won't say giddy, happy, but definitely more happy the closer he gets to people.
Here you go, darling.
Nice try, kid. Let's go.
What the? Hey!
So you can see that Husk is really protective of the people that he cares about. Yes, Charlie did tell him to make sure that Angel was safe, but he right away goes into protection mode, and this is like he knows what he's doing. This is not his first rodeo.
I didn't ask for you to save me. I can handle myself.
Really? Because I just saw someone self-destructing. It seems like, I don't know, you might need a bartender to talk to.
Two things that are really interesting about this scene. One is that Angel's using his regular voice, Anthony's voice, not Angel's voice. And that's what happened.
I love that she caught that, because it was a big switch from Angel Dust to Anthony. For anybody that doesn't know, that's Angel's real name.
When Anthony is being himself instead of this angel persona that he carries on. Husk really appreciates that Angel's being true to how he feels in this moment. And the second thing is that suddenly Husk gets into this mode of, I can help you, you can talk to me, I'm safe. But the problem is that Husk has already said all kinds of things that have said that he's not safe, that he might be judgmental, that he might be critical, that he might be cynical, that he might be harsh. And those are traits that we often don't feel comfortable when we want to share with someone, because that's the last.
I know I've paused it a million times, but that's something that's hard for people to think about. My daughter has struggles with this. It's not necessarily empathy, but sometimes people say things without thinking about the thoughts that how the other person's going to perceive it. Like, you might say something too fast or too loud, and they think you're being aggressive because you didn't take the time to think how they're going to receive it. And that's why it's so hard for Angel to want to even try to talk to Husk, because Husk is always just so rude to him.
Last thing that we want, and especially for Angel, for Anthony, he doesn't want people to judge him, to see his weakness, to see his vulnerability. It's often the hardest thing for us to share. Husk now has a really difficult position to very quickly have Anthony, Angel, be able to trust him.
You think after how you treated me, I'm gonna open up to you? Please.
Maybe I'd treat you better if you were real and not some bull version of yourself, always pushing my boundaries.
Is that a valid point? No, I think that you should still treat people with respect and kindness, no matter what, because the reason that they're guarded up is because of that. And so I think that that's a really bad excuse. The reason that Husk was behaving that way was because of his own insecurities and his own hurts. And yes, maybe he would have treated Angel better if he was spending more time being Anthony than not. And so I think that Husk also has to reflect and take a look that maybe also partially he has to deal with the repercussions of if you treat people poorly, that they may not feel that safe with you.
Let me tell you, no.
It's also the fact that it's going to happen right here, but at the time, Husk doesn't even care about the reason that Angel Anthony wears the mask. And I said it before, I always used to like to be the smartest guy in the room. So it wasn't just being able to predict how people were going to act, being able to almost read them, almost like we try to read their mind just out of experience. But I always used to want to know why people acted a certain way. I know, call it manipulative, but it was the way I used to be. We're going to finish off this scene real quick.
Nobody in that hotel cares who you are, how famous, how hot. So you might as well just cut the act.
It's not an act!
See this.
It's who I need to be.
And you see that rawness kind of stops Husk. That was something that was really true, but also shocking. I don't think that he really understood that for Angel needed the mask. And I think that this is when he understands that Angel is acting this way as a way of survival. Husk now understands, and I think that that's very true. When we understand why someone does something, your friend that takes so long to tie their shoelaces, it's actually because their mother used to mock them for making a mistake. Then right away you have more empathy and more understanding of why someone does something. And so I think that that's why sharing and being honest with people, if they're safe and comfortable, can often be a wonderful gift to others so that they can understand that we all do things often because of hurts and issues and problems. Rarely are we trying to make relationships around us difficult.
All right, guys, we are going to stop this one here. So we are 33 minutes in. We're 17 minutes through her video, so we're going to end up cutting this in half. And that's why people don't like being called out on being fake or wearing a mask, because a lot of times they have reasons why they act that way. And that's the part you have to be careful with, because that can seriously damage a relationship with somebody. But so far, I'm really enjoying this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying my takes on it, my experiences, as well as Georgia's insights. As always, make sure you guys support Georgia Dow. If you guys want to check out the original video without my pausing or commentary, link to the video will be down below. If you guys want to see part 2, that'll be out tomorrow. So make sure you guys swing by for that. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links are also down below. That is it from me. I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.